and welcome to Wyverns and Weirdos Fathomless, the tabletop podcast set in the world of Fierlor. I'm your Dungeon Master Darby, and joining me as always are Mitch, playing 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧, Jake, playing the Fishman, Joe, playing 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧, Laura, playing 𝗔𝗦𝗧, Zoe, playing 𝗔𝗏𝗏, and Eddie, playing 𝗔𝗏𝗏𝗧. Let's jump into things. So, where we last left off, the party fought against 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧's brother, who literally lured 𝗖𝗔𝗦 into a vault to kill him, to stab him in the back. And he almost would have succeeded in killing 𝗖𝗔𝗦 too, had Fishman and 𝗖𝗏𝗏𝗧 not both had Misty Step to get into the vault. After a long fight, the party managed to not only defeat 𝗖𝗏𝗏 and reveal him to be the simulacrum only and not the real deal, but they managed to break the inhibitor device around one of 𝗖𝗏𝗏's most prized creation, an undead-ish, construct-ish humanoid known only as 𝗔𝗏𝗏𝗧, who not a fan of his master and creator, and quickly turned to aiding the party once 𝗖𝗏𝗏 was gone. So in the aftermath of all this, with 𝗔𝗏𝗏𝗧 having offered healing to 𝗔𝗏𝗏 and provided it to 𝗔𝗏𝗧, what would folks like to do?
There you go.
So just quickly, previously at the end of the last session, 𝗔𝗏𝗏𝗧, this creepy creature, reached out and offered to do something to 𝗔𝗏𝗧, which turned out to be healing him. 𝗔𝗏𝗧 understood this sort of similar healing energy, being a plain-touched celestial 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧 himself. Not that that's what 𝗔𝗏𝗏𝗧 is. I have no idea what the hell 𝗔𝗏𝗏𝗧 is, except gross and creepy. But anyway, so 𝗔𝗏𝗧 got healed, and he just quickly throws his hand out as 𝗔𝗏𝗏𝗧 sort of retreats back, and just calls out, "I think this one's okay for now. It just healed me. How's everyone else doing? We're all okay?"
Fishman will rush past and say, "I'm fine. I'm just going to check outside," as he rushes out the front.
"Be careful. Let us know quickly what's going on." And he also draws 𝗔𝗏𝗏𝗧 closer because he was also holding her at the end of that session.
Yeah.
How's everyone else?
I'm good. I'm alive. Arton kind of like clambers to his feet, like still holding onto his leg, midriff, and kind of like surveys the room, looking at like the puddle of like ice where 𝗖𝗏𝗏𝗏 used to be, and then looks over to 𝗖𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗧 and is like, "Thanks for that. I assume that work was you, and stopping me from dying and everything."
Don't mention it. It was payback.
Certainly know someone who deserves a lot of payback now. Right, so that creature is safe. We're not going to get mauled anymore or anything. He addresses kind of the room.
I think the creature that you were introduced to by your brother, it looks at you, its head kind of tilted, and you see a recognition and a wariness there, but it doesn't go to move from 𝗔𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. It's on all fours again now, but its stance is almost protective over 𝗔𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. But it doesn't look like it would attack you. It just looks, it's specifically honed onto you, 𝗖𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, and you see it recognizes something. You're not quite sure what that is.
You good there, Loren?
Never better. She says, like, not lifting her face from where it is pressed into Janice's massive bicep. Personally, I think if you're wanting to get back at your stupid brother, you should maybe try looting this place for everything he's got. Also, was your brother always made of ice, or is that just something that you lot do? Is that something Wyverns do when they're in trouble? Because frankly, you could do it more often.
Oh yeah, it's just like a defense mechanism that comes to us when we're under threat. Have you not noticed it with me yet?
Obviously, you've never been that much under threat. You're a lot more hardcore than I thought you were.
That's me, the toughest one in the family. No, I do like the idea of the looting the place. I mean, if he didn't invite me into the vault to kill me, may as well, have a little look around what he's got.
I would second the looting. In terms of health and magic, is there anyone who needs to lend of energy for now? Loren or Alton? Did anyone else get hurt? Maybe he holds out and he reaches out a hand which sort of glows slightly as his eyes glow a little bit more intensely with that golden energy that's within him.
Loren quietly just pats Janice's arm and is like, go look after someone else, big guy. I'll be fine. I just have to sleep it off.
He looks over her for a moment and then sort of nods and lets go of her and straightens up and pulls himself to his full height and looks around. Right, Alton. It sounded like you took quite a bit of a beating. Do you need a hand? He strides over to Alton.
Alton's still kind of clutching onto his abdomen and looking somewhat probably more grey toned, pale. Yeah, I think this one is one that could do for a little bit of magical healing.
All right then. And he flicks his gaze over temporarily at Neris for a moment and then towards the direction that Fishman ran. And then he'll reach out to Alton and just hold his hand, almost like he's going to help him up or just reaching out for his hand basically. And waits until Alton takes it.
He'll take his hand.
Cool. And Janice is going to use his ancestral ability to cast Cure Wounds on Alton. So there's almost it's searing warmth, like a hot cocoa, spreads out through your hand and into you. And you heal 14 points of healing.
Thank you. And kind of wrinkles up his nose at the sensation. It's just hate that feeling. It's a little different with you though. The magic coming from a different place.
Apologies. It's not good for too much. Usually just cuts and scrapes on, back on the ship when we're on the Polaris, but hopefully the energy will lend you well. And you do notice that the light in his eyes have dimmed slightly since that transfer has happened. And he lets go of your hand and straightens up and then looks around. All right. Well, Fishman's gone up to reconnaissance, secure the area, and do some looting if that's what you want. We're not quite sure how much fighting we're going to have to do to get out of this place. I'm going to assume the whole wet thing means that there's more going on than just you, but you guys will be a bit moist every now and then, Alton.
Yes, no, I think Valen was some kind of magical copy. We didn't kill the real him.
Oh, then we should definitely do the looting and inspecting carefully and quickly. There'll probably be traps here as well, I imagine, if he planned this.
Yes, that's true. Getting out of here might be difficult.
Yes, conserve energy while we can, but we probably shouldn't tarry for too long. Wait and see what Fishman says. And he again nods at Alton, nods at Neris, and then turns to look at Loren almost like a half glance, and then he will look around the room and then look at Galut, cock his head to one side, and then just nod at it. And then he'll go, I'm going to inspect the room. Rest of you, do as you wish. We should move as soon as we can. And he will stride around just having a look around the room to see if there's anything that can be disarmed, taken care of, noted down. He's in bosun arms master mode. Anything that he can take, he will. That's weaponized. But yeah, he's more sort of not focused on big time looting, just making sure this room is as safe as possible before we press on.
On the first head nod from Janice as well, Neris has stood up, leaving the care of Alton to Janice, and has gone out to follow Fishman.
So I think let's take a look while Janice is looting around. Fishman, where does your exploration take? So you go out the front of the whole building?
Not just yet. So, firstly, he noted that as we came in, Valen's wife, alleged wife, was there. Perhaps also a Frost copy, who knows? Are they still there?
She is not out in the hall.
So Fishman, will go through that door. He's going to be basically looking to see if there's any other dangers in the house. From memory, the hall was quite close to the front entrance. Is there any way he could kind of peek through to see if anything was going on outside, any commotion?
There'd be a small window through which you could kind of peek through.
He should also still have the language spell on as well. Comprehend languages.
So roll me a perception check.
I pre-rolled an 18.
18. Okay. You can see there's not too much of interest outside. There are some guard patrols, but they don't seem to be overly alert. They seem alert, but only insofar as they're on patrol. They don't seem like they are coming to check on a disturbance or anything like that.
Is there a lock on the door? Or a barricade? Or
there
a
is
bar?
There's a lock. There's not really a barricade.
Is it something that he can easily lock from the inside?
Yeah, from the inside, yeah.
Cool. He'd like to lock that.
Okay.
And then he'd like to continue looking through the house, if he can.
Okay. So let's roll me a general...
Stealthily?
Okay. So roll me a general investigation check, followed by a stealth check.
General investigation... So the investigation is a 10, and the stealth is a 17.
So there's nothing really that you find throughout the house, but you aren't particularly noticed with that stealth roll. So, no exposure, at least.
No exposure. No one else in the house.
You do hear, you almost expose yourself for before moving back, hearing Valen's wife, or you presume Valen's wife, pacing around through what seems to be the dining room.
Does it sound like calm pacing, or does it sound like panicked pacing?
Roll me an insight check.
Ooh, I do like insight checks, but my rolls do not. That's a 12.
It's hard to glean.
Fair enough.
Unfortunately, you don't have any familiarity with her, so it's hard to, without a baseline to establish it, it's hard to kind of read anything into the pace of these steps.
And are there any other rooms in the house?
So the dining room is further through. So to get through to that dining room door, you do come across there's a sitting room that sort of serves as a transition between the two. And then so the sitting room has a very industrial looking fireplace on one end, like the side opposite the door, a deep blue and gold rug on the ground, and a pair of long royal purple couches, both positioned in the corners in a way that face towards the fireplace. And then there is the bedroom down the southern end of the house. The bedroom has a dark purple dressed bed, a bedside table on each side, and a wardrobe.
Perfect. Noting all of that, Fishman's going to sneak back over, as he just wanted to check if there were any immediate threats.
Okay.
Yeah, if you can come back to the others, that would be great.
I think timing-wise, probably, yeah, you would probably encounter Neris a bit before you are about to re-enter the workshop with the others.
Mm-hmm. Is he in the workshop or
No. just-
Neris?
I believe Neris, you left the workshop to go find fish.
Yes.
Cool. Yeah, Fishman's going to update you. It does not seem that there's a panic at the moment, and he does say this quietly. It does not seem there's a panic. I have locked the front door to stop any intruders coming in case word has gotten out. I am unaware whether or not the wife is aware, but they are still here in the kitchen. And there are a few other rooms containing no others but just simple items, so it seems. I don't believe we're in any immediate danger, but I'm unaware if the wife knows, and whether or not how much time we have until the wife knows.
Very well, then whatever we should do it quickly.
Is everyone done in there?
I believe we are all finishing up. Everyone was investigating the vault and the workshop, gathering whatever would prove useful. Then we should look at some form of escape plan.
Do we approach the wife, or best leave it be?
I think if we can avoid a confrontation, that may prove the path of least resistance.
Do we have a way to buy ourselves time?
I mean, not avoiding the wife would probably buy us time. I'm not sure how good we are at subterfuge, but perhaps asking for a cup of tea may buy us a few minutes.
Would you like to lead the charge with that one? I'm not in the tea mood, he says with a dead straight face.
You know me too well. I am always in a tea mood. And Neris is going to straighten himself up.
Fishman will also give you a quick rundown of the layout of the house.
Perfect. Did we get her name?
Right.
Right. Should two people do this, or... I know you wanted to explore the vault. I do not wish to take you away.
I do not mind about the vault. I just want to know that everyone is okay.
Everyone is safe for now. The larger creature is seemingly docile for now. However, we should be wary. Should it change allegiances once more?
Please hold a second. Fishman's going to use shape water, if you can, to just move a little bit of water out of his water skin. And he'd like to kind of send that through Neris's hair and kind of help with the charring. You know, making it look like we weren't just in a fiery battle. And also, Fishman will use that to like get any of the any staining, if he can, blood stains or anything off his. Well, I guess it's not blood. Hey, it's ice.
Mild frosting
charring
around the
off.
edges.
Yeah. So Fishman's going to aim to bootleg, get rid of all that. Budget, get rid of that. And then he's going to quickly poke his head through the door of the chambers, of the study. The workshop, that's it. And just check that everyone's there. Check on what this well, I'm not quite sure if it was ever explained exactly what they are, this construct is doing, whether or not they're still being friendly. And then might just quickly kind of quietly get Janice to come over.
Yep, and he will easily come over the second that Fishman returns as well.
There seems to be no danger. However, we are going to buy you some time to finish whatever you need to do here.
Okay.
The wife is still in the house, and we are going to have tea.
Oh, that's when there is decided to go off to then, is it?
We're going together, yes.
Then I have much greater confidence. Okay, good.
I believe they're called tea parties. We're going to have a tea party.
Cool. Okay, is there a way we can communicate with you? Because I probably assume, when he looks over towards Alton, whatever Alton's doing right now, the priority thing would be to get Alton out of here unseen, considering he was
Fishman,
a murder target, probably by these people.
Fishman with his infinite memory, recalls any of the times that potentially any of the other party members have used a message or some kind of talking spell. He knows that Nerison himself can do it, but he thinks that Loren maybe? Does he remember any of the other party members using message or anything like that?
So Janice can't.
Oh, I definitely can't.
Who knows about our new friend? So
yeah. With this, I mean, I guess I can have Alton nearby an earshot. Yeah, I think he would be trying to like approach Loren to see if Gulut will let him heal her. But I guess if he overhears what they're saying, he'll be like, sorry, were you going to go talk to Valen's wife?
Information gathering and buying you time.
Okay.
But
I
the
would
longer we take,
advise being careful. Valen would have no reason to marry someone unless they were very powerful. So I don't know if she would be the safest person to talk to. I don't really know anything about her, but it would be a marriage of like politics or power or something.
how much time do you need?
Oh, I'm just going to go and loot some shit, quickly get Loren on her feet, and see if this thing will let us leave. So not too long.
So a friendly yes. Fishman looks up at Galoot.
Sorry, are you all in the room? I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I'm
so
confused. Me,
Fishman
Eddie.
briefly came back in to let
Okay.
people know what's going on and asked if Galoot is
there
a
is this
friendly.
idling somewhere outside of it, I believe.
Just outside the door, yeah.
Galut still hasn't shifted from where it was or stopped watching Alton. It kind of followed Alton as Alton moved closer. It didn't make any sort of movements or anything, but it's still watching Alton. And it seems like it's trying to figure something out as it looks at Alton. But it doesn't really pay you much attention, Fishman.
Oh, that's a red flag. Please be careful, Alton, and we will do the same. 5 minutes and we're out. The front door is locked, just unlock it.
All right. Sounds like a plan. You take care.
And then your fisherman's going to go out and mention what Alton said. So potentially they may be powerful in some way. Apparently, he would not marry someone of insignificance, whether that be through magical might or perhaps political power.
I know that
We may be in for a bit of trouble.
that may concern you, but that actually works a little bit more in our favor.
Are you ready?
The more the wife knows about her husband's deeds, the more she may want to keep us distracted for.
Very true. And if things go pear-shaped, you have a way out.
I do.
Then let us go. I'm suddenly in the mood for tea.
I also, I did overhear you talking. You said 5 minutes maximum. If we are to actually have tea, at least 6 minutes for peppermint tea brewing is beneficial. Otherwise, it is just water. But we can work on that.
How long? How long? Give me a time right now.
7 is perfect.
Fishman casts message and retcons the 5 minutes to Alton.
All right. Sounds good.
Actually, 7 minutes. Apparently, tea is a very, very specific brewing process that must be adhered to. Otherwise, we'd be having just hot water.
Thank you for the fact correction from Nerison there. Well, you two take care, all right? We'll catch up soon.
You get another reply. Okay. All right. Tea time.
Yeah. So you go and find Desidora in the dining room, and yeah. Gentlemen, yeah, tired of the workshop.
Good afternoon. I apologize if we are disturbing you. The conversations are taking a little bit longer than we thought, and seeing as we are not family, we were hoping we could ask you very politely for some tea.
That would be perfectly reasonable. I'll. Do you have a preference?
A peppermint, if you have it. However, I am most amenable to just a plain green tea or. What about my colleague here? Do you drink much? He's just sort of following.
No, I do have some input to this actually. I do a bit of traveling. I do like to indulge in local delicacies. If you have a local flavor, I'd love to try it.
Probably the most local thing here would be the shade mushroom tea.
Can Fishman know if shade mushroom is okay?
Roll me a nature check. You do have the
Having
underdark.
known the area.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
do have advantage on this, as it is an underdark related thing.
I rolled the same number twice, 11.
Okay. Yeah, you're not. You've heard of it. You're not entirely sure of. You've heard of it being consumed in some way. You're not sure how you've heard of it being consumed safely. You do know that there can be concerns about if it's not prepared safely. That there might be some issues, but otherwise,
Have you made?
yeah, not much comes to mind.
Do you have that one often? That one sounds interesting.
I often have a small batch that I keep that has been prepared.
Share some with us.
Of course.
The more, the merrier.
And goes to a little tea chest cabinet area to the side of the dining table and starts grabbing stuff out. And she flicks her wrist and casts a small fire spell to set up the teapot to start boiling. As she does the final preparations on the stored shade mushroom tea.
You are an arcanist.
I dabble, only a little.
Uh,
Couple of useful domestic tricks.
Magic is indeed very useful, yes.
Can Fishman roll an insight just on that as well?
Roll me an insight check.
Just if they do dabble or not.
I would very much like Neris to investigate as well, please.
So that is a 25.
Is Neris able to just sort of use his arcane knowledge to figure out if this is a fellow arcane
Yeah.
dabbler?
How's their proficiency with their science?
Yeah. Did it seem just completely natural, or is it...
Are they proficient with somatics?
That's still an insight check.
Okay, that's fair.
I see you trying to fish for an arcana
Trying to fish
check
for it, yeah.
instead, but
Yeah. It's okay, though, because I have a very high investigate check anyway.
insight, not
however-
investigate.
Insight, that is also very high. That is a natural one.
Neris, you have no idea.
I've forgotten magic.
Fishman, there doesn't seem to be any sort of deception in what she's saying.
Fishman will just give a very kind of subtle thumbs up from where they're sitting, hoping Neris can see it. Because he can tell Neris looks very focused but also confused at the same time.
I think for the natural one, Neris, you missed that as well.
Absolutely.
Fair enough.
And while you have a pleasant small talk and wait for the tea to brew, we're gonna move back to the workshop where people are furiously looting, or looting in whatever fashion they desire. So what are folks doing in the workshop?
Absolutely. Before I'm getting to the good old looting, Alton would be trying to get to Loren for healing. I'm assuming Galut is still standing like protectively in front of Loren.
So it's less so much that Galut is in front of Loren. The way I'm sort of picturing it is there's just with how you were taken into the room as well, is that Galut is standing and just being, well, not standing, it's on all fours, but just being the imposing sort of larger figure it is. It's not quite standing over Loren. She is closer to you, but the presence of it being there, and you can tell with its long limbs and just with how it's almost a bit too still, that it has enough of a reach to get in the way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's still, I will note, it is still watching you with its head tilted. It's like it's searching for something.
Hey there. Mind if I come a little bit closer? He kind of like makes himself look a little bit smaller. Not a threat here. I just want to, pretty injured. I just want to go heal my companion over there. Would that be all right with you? And he kind of gets out his...
for a little bit longer. And I think, Lorraine, are you watching at all? Are you doing anything?
She's kind of been like staring off into like the middle distance mostly. But as soon as she hears like Alton's footsteps approaching, she kind of snaps to look at Alton and then would look at Galut when Alton starts talking to it. And she's just kind of looking up at its one glowing eye.
I think when you motion towards Loren, its eyes flick down. I might make an insight check just to see what sort of emotion or what sort of look Loren might be giving. Which that's a 3, so...
A curated blankness, which even for a 3 is potentially a look Galut would know well.
I think, there's no change yet, so whatever you want to do next.
Yeah, Alton would kind of like get out his like medic bag, which he would have hidden in his coat upon seeing Valen, and just kind of show the like red Caduceus symbol to Galut, just trying to highlight that he's a medic. And I guess I'll have Alton roll an insight check on Galut.
Oh.
I forgot. Alton, by the way, Alton does have a level of exhaustion. That fight definitely churned through his spoon points. So that is a 14 for insight. Yeah.
I think with a 14, you can definitely tell that Galut is wary and doesn't know what to make of you yet. And look, I think even with the 14, you might make the connection. It's up to you whether you make the connection, but you might sense that the familiarity, not familiarity, but that sort of recognition that you saw before, Galut sees the similarities between you and your brother.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Do with that what you will. However, I am very aware that only one member of the party saw an insight into how Galut feels about that particular person. So,
True.
Loren and Janet.
Well, so Loren kind of lets her gaze kind of phase back to blank for a second, and she just kind of looks into the middle distance again. And then probably as Janice is walking around kind of looking for weapons, not looting, as you said, Laura, per se, but like just finding anything useful and throwing it like anywhere he can carry. She just kind of takes her hand and like just hits it against the ground quietly to try and get his attention, just a little.
He tilts his head whip smart.
And she just kind of looks at him for a second and just breathes in, and you see her like trying so hard to focus on you.
He also breathes in, like does a big show of it.
She exhales.
When he exhales, like does like a little hand out kind of movement. And then it kind of like makes a little hand movement that's kind of like a little like fish or something like swimming along the stream with one hand. Which is not, it's quite clumsy because he has very severe like hand issues, but like, yeah.
She mimes the little fish back and then just says, haven't seen the shark for a while.
Well. And he sort of tilts his gaze towards 𝗖𝗦 for a moment and then turns his head back from it to Loren. I thought it was necessary, but luckily it was not, at least for now. Seems you
Just
haven't
wanted to show off.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry,
You
go.
say your line, that's all good.
No, you go.
And he tilts his head back to 𝗖𝗦 and is like, seems you have an admirer. Is this a thing? Is this perhaps another siren? And he gestures at 𝗖𝗦 and then looks between like Alton and Loren and 𝗖𝗦.
Well, I hate to say this, 𝗖𝗦, and she kind of looks directly up, but you can see her gaze is like just past 𝗖𝗦's like shoulder. If you're a siren, it's for the kind of person I don't really want to meet. You seem okay though, bud.
I think 𝗖𝗦, when it hears Loren first speak and the first like sort of pat on the ground, its eyes quickly dart to Loren, assesses her, and then looks back to Alton, and is still sort of watching and staring at Alton. And then when it realizes Loren is addressing it, it kind of takes a moment, freezes for a moment watching Loren, and then just gets down even lower. And it kind of stretches its front arms out, and it looks wrong. This isn't like a dog putting its head on its paws, because the limbs don't move how they're meant to. And you don't know, but you would assume sitting like this would hurt it, but it just puts itself down so it's as low as it can be and just watches you, Loren, curiously. And Alton, it stopped paying attention to you, at least for the moment.
Oh boy, maybe I do have an admirer. Alton, I think you're safe. He's safe. And she like points at Alton while looking at 𝗖𝗦. They're all my co-workers. It's fine. Can you understand
Its eyes
me?
kind of flick lazily up to Alton, and it does this breath in, and its eyes are still on Alton, and it goes, and then it looks back to Loren.
Can you understand me?
It moves, it shifts a paw towards you. It does not have a paw.
I wish it had paws.
It's a claw.
You wish it had paws. It shifts a claw, does not touch you, but shifts a claw closer and pats the ground gently like you did to get Janice's attention.
Okay. She kind of furrows her brow. Alton, if you come in to like do any kind of like medical assessment, she's not really paying attention to anything you do. She's been very like tight and in. You can tell sort of from the fact she pushed Janice away earlier that she maybe was potentially going to put up a fight to you appealing her, even though she's clearly quite injured. But she's just very curious at the moment, so whatever you do, she kind of just lets it happen.
Okay. Yeah, I think Alton would have been like tensed up a lot at any like movements that 𝗖𝗦 made, but then just kind of assess the situation and carefully walk closer up to Loren.
I think it looks back up at you and gives like almost this imperceptible nod, and you feel like it's okay. But I think maybe when you start working on Loren, at one stage as you're kind of looking at and assessing her, it hasn't moved, and it's quite close to Loren, and it's large on the ground. So it would be hard to avoid getting at least somewhat close to it. But I think you get close to it at one point, closer than you had been. And for a split second, you hear this whine when you get too close to it. And then it stops. and it's almost like it never happened. And there is no sort of change or movement from the thing aside from Loren, you're watching it quite closely. Its eyes flick up to Alton very quickly, and then it schools back to looking at you, and its expression blankens a little bit more than it had before.
Oh, okay. You and your brother very much look alike, it seems.
No, never really picked it. We've got different fathers after all, but just
Oh, really?
enough to... Yes.
Was his father made of ice?
No, I don't think so, although he was bard all into that magic kind of stuff, so probably could do all sorts of ice spells.
Ah, half siblings.
Yes.
I know the feeling.
Indeed. And Janus puts his hands on his hips and looks from the two of you to Galut. So, if it's seeing a similarity with Alton's brother, why is it not deferring to you, Alton?
You think it liked his brother?
Considering what he seems to have done with it, I don't think it should like him.
Well, personally, I don't think anyone seems to like your brother. You certainly don't seem to like him. His wife doesn't seem to like him if she's still upstairs. And I doubt anything that lives down here wanted to like him. From the sounds of it, also, Exley doesn't even like him. So, maybe your brother's just a very unlikable person.
I'm realizing my family might be a little bit shit, actually.
Well, can't say I'm too fond of them either at the moment, considering what they tried to do to one of my crew. And then he puts his hand up to Galut. Well then, you were hanging around for now. You saw what happened to the man. He's goop now. You're free. Hurt any of us? You answer to me. Otherwise, you can do whatever you like. Go wherever you want to.
I think it had been quite dismissive of you before, Janice, especially when Loren was #sicko mode. But you see it looks to you now, and there's something in it, like it tilts its head, and there's something in it that sees you in a way it didn't before. And it just watches you for a bit as you say that, and then it puffs down a little bit, its head on its grotesque bent forearms. And I think where Loren may not have gotten clarity if it understood, you find clarity there. But you're not sure how you found that.
There's almost like a little spark of connection between the now more dim glowing, but glowing golden radiance from Janice's eyes and this single glowing pupil from this ravaged creature. And Janice just nods and is like, well, have you managed to find anything, Alton? Loren, are you feeling better?
Peachy Keen Captain, you know me. It takes a lot more than that to get me down.
Good. Well, sounds like Fishman knows it's organising some sort of distraction. We should probably get what we can and get out of here. I still am more concerned about what reception we may have once we get out of here. We are in a city, and some travel from the surface. But I do have an idea. If you would be comfortable, and he turns to Alton, it's not really going to help hide things, but it might make you a little bit safer, at least for now, since I think we can all agree this is the top priority, to get you out of here safely.
What's the idea?
So, I can do this as a blessing of my god, as an extra extension of the power of my wonderful god, as a blessing of Shognesh. And he just like flexes a sort of a fist, clenches a fist, almost like half point in the air, and his image changes again, and it changes to reflect Alton, almost exactly. He has little golden glowing eyes, but that's about it. He looks exactly like Alton otherwise.
Does he shrink and hide?
Yes. He's like, what do you think? Convincing? And he puts his hand, and this Alton puts his hands on his hips in exactly the same way that Janice does, legs wide apart.
Oh, that is very disturbing.
Okay.
I would never make that face.
Okay.
I love this. I love this, actually. This is perfect.
Okay.
Do the pose. Do the pose.
Oh no. Do you do this often?
Well, not you specifically. That would be specifically weird. No offense. No, I can do this in general. This is a blessing of my god, a sort of safe haven to separate me from my sins, shall we say. I can change shapes. The only problem is, now, don't go touching me or anything. I'm still here. This is just what everyone's seeing now. So I'm still, no offense, a little bit taller than you are. But either way...
Loren,
Sorry, yeah, no, you can go ahead.
Loren, I think you notice more than the other two that Galut still stays just as low to the ground, seems to make itself smaller and moves backwards, almost imperceptibly, but shrinks away.
So, you noted. So, Alton, you're doing a bit of a search, are you?
Oh yeah, Elton will go and search the safe.
Yeah, Janice will probably snap out of this disguise for a moment and be like, right, let's loot the place and get out of here. I don't trust Neris and let's loot the place and get out of here. I don't trust Neris or Fishman to do whatever it is they're doing. I'm going to really have to have a talk about team discussions after all of this is over.
Yes, we shouldn't leave them on the run for too long.
Absolutely not. Let's get out of here. Find what we can, let's go. And then he will go and stand by the doorway, poised.
So, Alton and anyone else who might be investigating, roll an investigation check. What you can
Okay.
find.
I will mention that Alton will want to grab the pistol that he specifically saw. That will be one thing you want to get. And anything else. I haven't just finished. That's just a 9.
A
If you're looking
9.
for any weapon mechanics, schematics or anything anything that just looks valuable.
Yeah, so there's papers. You're not sure what exactly they are, but they've survived the fire, so you might have to sift through them later, but I imagine you've probably just gone okay, these are on the desk,
Bag.
grab them, put them in. You do find 2 loose bullets by the pistol. Both have some engravings carved into them and are inlaid with colored dust. One of them a silvery white color, the other in a orangey red.
Very cool.
So beyond the papers and the 2 bullets and the pistol, you also find searching around one potion. Your background, easy enough to tell this is a potion of greater healing. And then you stumble upon a tome with a tongue, a desiccated tongue pinned to the front of it.
Ew. Okay. Alright, I'll grab those and just chuck them in my bag. I will be showing these to Neris later, I think.
Also, the cannon out in the main workshop seems to have a hallmark of having some magical enchantments on it. Again, not sure what they are, but you probably couldn't carry it. But Janice probably could, moving a bit slowly. Galut's physical size, Galut looks like it might be able to carry it if you wanted to take that as well.
I think that would be a weird thing to ask. But Alton would just momentarily look at the cannon and be like, "There's some powerful shit. Alright, I think I've got everything that looks valuable, looks useful. Shall we get out of here?"
Of course. We ready? Still no word from the others. But I suppose at this point we should just leave. All right then. And Janice shifts back into this little mimicry of Alton.
I say little.
Speaking of the others, Neris and Fishman, you've been having delightful small talk with 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧. As you've consumed the tea, can you please roll me a Constitution saving throw?
We fine, surely.
17.
And Fishman?
When it wants to actually roll, much better. 7.
7. Okay, Neris, the tea has a bit of a kick to it, but you are otherwise fine. Fishman, you are mechanically you are considered poisoned, and you are feeling very woozy. This is definitely a acquired taste. Is not playing kind with your extraplanar physiology, and yeah, it's you feel like this is not for you.
It definitely has a kick to it. But I feel like I've been kicked in the gut.
It is quite a powerful and unacquired, but all the rage
I can see how it would be.
within the cities of the jar.
Is 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧 drinking any as well?
Yes.
Perfect. So... Oh, sorry, you were about to say something.
Is she just chugging it down?
No, she's politely sipping away at it.
Yeah, Fishman's going to like regret life choices. You can see he's not okay. His smile, you have pretty good insight from memory with that huge nat 1. You might see that the smile is not genuine, and that on the inside he is regretting this decision to try everything at least once.
How long roughly was the brewing process on that?
Probably about 5 minutes.
Okay, so a minute conversation before we're starting to get to the point where we can wrap up. Neris is just counting in his head the whole time. Well, thank you very much for the tea. I am quite a fan. I would love to know where I can acquire some more of this. However, it does not look like my colleague is enjoying the experience as much as you or I.
Such a shame.
It's not you. It's wonderful. I would otherwise find it wonderful, I believe, but perhaps today is not the day. Fishman also counting in his head, but maybe losing track.
Okay.
But yeah, I guess, Fishman might say, before we go, just wanted to say congratulations. Apparently you have a little one on the way.
Yes. Not too long now, but all too far to go.
Sorry, excuse me. It's hard to gather myself. Again, this is... You drink this often?
Not often per se, but enough.
Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. I am curious though. Alton hasn't mentioned anything. Nothing of Valen. And I get this news that you're having a little one. I feel like there's a whole life, a whole world down here that I've just been... I know nothing of. What is your story? You and Valen, tell me about... Oh god, am I talking too much?
I think it might actually be time to return, especially if you're not feeling too well. We will not take any more of your time. Thank you for stopping and talking with us.
That is perfectly fine. So do I take it from that you will no longer be staying for dinner?
I am not sure what my colleagues are planning. I'm referring to needing to go back to the workshop.
Of course. Well, take your time.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure to have a conversation.
and it is a pleasure to enjoy some new tea.
Fishman gets up in haste. I'm terribly sorry, but I'm not sure I can stomach dinner at this time. Maybe the others, but not me. And he will rush out the door.
Okay.
Or rush out of the room if there is no door.
Yeah, I should go and check on him. And Neris will follow.
Okay. So, yeah. So you return quickly to the room as everyone is finishing looting it, and doing their kind of discussions and preparations to leave.
I swear we had 2 more minutes, so I thought we would gather some information. He says this quietly. What? Am I off? Or was I not counting right?
You are certainly off. Are you feeling okay?
Not good.
You don't look it.
Not good.
No.
The quicker we leave, the better.
Okay, well, let us get
Hey.
back to the group. Hello.
Your magic. Can you help?
Oh. Can Neris have a bit of a think on just different teas that he's tried in the past? Do we think there's anything particularly spicy about that particular tea?
Uh, define spicy.
Poisoned?
Fishman is acting mildly differently to how he normally acts.
He's more pale than he is normally, which is saying a lot.
He's very pale. He's admitting that he's not well. There's a lot of red flags here. He's lost count, which is another big red flag. He's mentioned the tea twice now.
Roll me I guess a medicine check, probably the closest thing, or a nature check. I'll
We'll
accept
go with
either.
medicine. That is an 18.
There's definitely something off here. It's nothing in the way of like a hallucinogenic or anything, but it is definitely like it can have an upsetting effect on one's constitution if one is not used to it or if it is prepared incorrectly. So make of that what you will.
Works for me. I am indeed magic, Fishman. I do not believe this is something that I can have any effect on. Perhaps if we get you to Alton, he may be able to assist.
Oh, why can't magic fix everything? I thought it could do anything. Okay, well, time is of the essence. We're about 4 minutes above overtime now, I think.
You can count. Okay. Let's, yes, let us return with utmost haste. See if we cannot fix whatever ails you.
Fishman is going to not try and make it look like they wasted a whole bunch of time. And he is going... Which is that deception or performance, Darby, to act normal?
Probably deception. In
Deception.
this context.
Especially to Janice. So 19.
Okay.
He, from Stefan's perspective, he goes from hunchback, pale and unwell, to you're not sure if he actually becomes back to his skin, like normal skin color, or whether or not it's just the confidence manifesting that kind of aura. But he straightens right up and struts into that room like nothing is happening.
Neris will also follow, and I was under the impression we gave a 7-minute time frame.
Yeah. Well, are they out of the room or?
Like, yeah, are we even still there? Like, I assume we will rewind if we have gone already to what happened.
No, I think Neris and Fishman, you are probably coming in around about as Alton is leaving the vault, as everyone converges on back in the workshop itself.
Fishman struts confidently into the room, gives a quick thumbs over his shoulder to Janice, and struts right up to Alton. And where is Alton in the room as well?
I guess probably just in the middle of the room. Maybe standing like
In the
with
room.
Loren and the others. Janice.
Perfect. Fishman will come over and put his arm around Alton, but kind of flop and quickly lose his posture and say, "Keep it secret, but I'm not well. I drank some bad stuff.
You're not well.
It's not agreeing with me. Keep it secret." And he'll like look around to the rest of the room. "We need to get going now, but if you know of any quick remedies to," and he quotes what the tea was, something cap mushroom. Jay can't remember it, but Fishman would, because it's now going to be nightmare fuel. That's what we drank. Probably not a good idea.
Shade
Thought I'd
mushroom
try it.
tea.
Shade mushroom tea.
Okay. Shit, I thought she'd poison you for a second.
No, nothing malicious there whatsoever that I can tell. But we should get going now because things may turn malicious. But if we can
Ooh.
just like think on this whilst we travel.
Yes, certainly.
Excellent.
He will quickly just get out like a bottle of water, a little water pouch or something. I get to use this for the first time. Get out 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧's handy spice pouch and put some powdered ginger in the water, and then give it to Fishman. This should help.
All
with his
right.
stomach.
Fishman takes a swig and pockets it, but like asking a question at the same time, like, "Is it mine now?" Yeah. As then he straightens up and is perhaps the first person to leave the room.
Before you leave the room, Alton and Fishman, as you were talking, notice a slight blinking coming from the pile of slush and snow where once Valen fell. And
Is that the mushrooms or
Mm.
me?
And as you kind of focus your vision in towards that blinking, you notice that there is a ring left in the slush with a small gem inlaid into it, and that gem is blinking a crimson red.
Blinking usually isn't good.
Yeah, that's some magic shit. Nervous, is this going to like explode on us? Oh,
Quite possibly. I would like to approach and inspect.
You can inspect. Would you like to do an Arcana check, an investigation, identify spell?
I'd very much like to see if this ring is of some form of magical property, yes.
Okay.
Or if it is created as something like Alton's weapons are.
Roll
We're
me,
not touching the ring by any way.
to begin with, roll me an Arcana check.
Okay. Potentially this is a bad thing as well. 21.
Okay. So, observing the ring, there are arcane glyphs on the outside and on the inside of the ring. So it is definitely arcane in some way.
I'm going to be the last person to ever say this, and I don't want to quote it, but I don't think we touch this.
Very
Much
quickly,
wash.
we do need to go, but does anyone have identify? That is the only way to find out, otherwise we leave now. He says quietly.
It will take a minute for me to identify this.
Just quietly, like in the background of all of this, Loren has been just very quietly talking to 𝗖𝗦𝗧 this whole time, just very softly, in just switching between every language she knows, like Abyssal, Sylvan, Primordial, Common. She even tries signing her own name at one point to see if 𝗖𝗦𝗧 reacts to that in any way.
Yeah, I think you, Loren, particularly probably have noticed that 𝗖𝗦𝗧 has gone quite stiff and almost guarded a little bit, and has been since Janice turned into Alton, and was
And-
fine when when Janice changed back, but now that the other two are back again, it doesn't look like it's threatening or anything, but it's frozen, sort of. Like it seems to you, and I think maybe only you would recognize this, given your condition, or not even your condition, just who you are, it's trying very hard not to show fear.
I get that, buddy. It sucks. They're not gonna hurt you. Frankly, the only person here that's a threat is me. And that part's kind of locked away right now.
Also, what were the languages that you were trying with it?
Abyssal, Sylvan, Primordial, Common, Sign.
You notice it kind of tilts its head at you a little bit when you speak Abyssal to it. The other languages, not including Common, it doesn't seem to recognize anything. With Common, it seems like there's some understanding there, but not quite to a human understanding level.
Okay. So all of this is in Abyssal, which means only Neris can probably understand it. I assume he speaks every language. Not Abyssal. Oh, fuck yeah. I love that. I love that for me.
Fishman would be the only one that can understand.
Ah, Fishman is Abyssal. Okay, sick. I don't care about pissing Fishman off right now. So, yeah, Loren just keeps speaking in Abyssal, just very soothing, very calming. Less like she's talking to a wounded animal or a scared animal, and more like she is talking to a scared person, which I guess Galut would definitely, with the way they have theoretically been treated, would be able to tell the difference. And she just keeps reiterating that, like, you're safe, bud. Now, I have a feeling my pals may be a little right, that you sort of you're a little enamored with a certain part of me that likes to sing. Even though I gave you that big old cut right there. I really don't like the idea of you staying down here, bud. Do you want to perhaps leave with me? We can find somewhere for you to go wander free if you want, but just, do you need to leave with me? I'll keep you safe.
I think there's levels of recognition that you see in some of the words that you say. I think a weird turn happens when you say safe, where it kind of looks... Before it still had that kind of glazed... Like, you saw some points of recognition, but it kind of looks directly at you, like it is looking at you. And you hear this kind of snuff, and it darts its eyes around the room, and then very slowly starts to push itself up. Does anyone aside from Loren react to it?
Dennis has been watching. He does tense. I'll say that again because honk. Janice has been watching this very intently. He's very clearly also paying attention to what's going on in the other corner of the room by the other two people that just arrived and Alton, but he is not facing them. He is watching this interaction very carefully, and he does tense when Galut moves, but again, it's almost exactly the same as 3 months ago whenever someone would reach for him and he would flinch because of what had happened when he'd been captured. And again, there's that burning, intense moment of, no, I choose to trust this because I know what this is like. Or Janice at least hopes he does. And so that's the only reaction that you would notice.
If you're anywhere near Alton, Fishman will be kind of on guard, but again, is very curious to see what they do.
Yeah, so it kind of shifts up. Loren, do you make any sort of move at all?
She kind of starts standing, hand still pressed to the one of the many stab wounds she took, and just kind of stands with Galut.
Yeah, I think once it's reached its full all fours height, it does reach a paw down to help you up. Do you take it? And it is complete. There's no
Yeah, she kind of looks at the claw, and then looks at Galut and says, "This isn't because of you, but I just can't touch people right now. That's just me. The big fella's different."
It nods and it shifts back, and you see that it understands. And there's almost a respect there, where you see, oh, okay, it understands and it knows, and that's a boundary, and that's fine. And it kind of, you see it it had been laying in that pained sort of position, and you see it rolls its spine a little bit, and a really awful crunching sound reverberates through its back, and then it kind of just stands and flops a little bit. It just says,
Oh, but I'm getting you a chiropractor. And she so she turns around. This would all be like happening like simultaneously as Fishman and Neris come back in. And as she turns around to kind of be like, "Hey guys, I found a friend." That would be about the moment where I think Neris would have said, "This is something I do not think we touch." And she would say, "Touch what?" And look over, and would she also see the blinking red ring?
Yeah. Given that attention has been drawn to it, yes.
Does it look like another red ring I know?
No.
No. Loren.
sorry,
Yeah.
would Gulut recognize anything about this ring at all? Like,
Potentially.
on its level?
It's something that Valen wore. Beyond that, maybe we need.
You can message me if you want.
Give me a general intelligence check.
As you're doing that, Loren kind of blank stares as she sees this red ring, and even as her brain is saying like, "No, it's not. It can't be." She has walked over and she has picked it up.
That's a dirty 20.
Dirty 20. You are vaguely aware of the nature of this ring. I will send you a message. Loren, what do you do?
I pick it up. I look at it. Is it a ring of Conrad?
Roll me a religion check.
Oh boy. Okay. I'm gonna use my spooky moon dice. Oh, can I get advantage because Cerise will one?
No, that if it's relevant, that'll be incorporated into the DC.
Thick as. Okay. Ooh, I'm proficient in religion. That is a 23.
Okay. There is some Conrad insignia carved into it, but not within like the actual arcane glyphs of it.
Thank the gods. Here I was thinking this was something dangerous.
Oh, so you just pick it up in the middle of everyone? No, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, don't touch random magical objects.
It is
I'm
the
sorry.
first things that you learn in Magical Artifacts 101, but of course you are a sorcerer, you did not go to. It's fine. Just
Okay,
next
if
time,
you're
don't.
done bullying me, I've got a new friend and we have to get out of here.
Okay, put it in a fantasy Ziploc bag. Let's get out of here, says a very an Alton with glowing gold eyes as standing by the doorway.
How can you look
and
different?
He glares at you in exactly the same way that Alton always does.
Well, no, you look the same. That's fine.
That's fine. Right, good. So
Loren, sorry, as everyone's sort of chattering and everything, Loren, Gulut had watched you pick it up. And it's watching this ring for a moment, trying to figure something out. And then it looks at the ring, looks at you, and then looks at the ring and growls.
Oh, sorry, but this is definitely going in a fantasy Ziploc bag.
It paws at you, it paws at the ground, and it looks almost panicked towards the others.
Fishman did stand in the middle of the room about to say something, but upon noticing that, can he just quickly approach Gulut and say, "If you can speak however you can. I may be able to understand."
It looks at you with this pained expression, and I think it moves towards the door, and it's fast when it moves towards the door, and it motions to the door. It's pushing its head towards the door and away from the ring.
We leave now.
Let us go.
And he quickly casts Pass Without Trace. And he will mention to Galoot if he does get close. The shadows will help. Not a bad thing. And then says to Loren, you either need to leave that ring or put it somewhere incredibly safe, because that is not good.
Family does deal in weapons, so be careful
As
of
he
that.
walks out the door.
I'll put it
Loren?
somewhere safe then.
If you go to put that ring anywhere on your person, Galoot will growl again, and you don't think Galoot is growling at you.
That just makes me want to keep the ring more. I'm so sorry, bestie. Also, the temptation to put this in my mouth is very strong. Sorry, Daris. Lorenz.
Janice was talking about party planning and
Sorry,
He's going to be
Captain.
having some really stern words to all of you, just as a heads up. Well, it's fine. Like, it's cool.
Loren looks at Glut and is like, can someone else hold it?
It looks, you see that same pained look it gave Fishman, and it looks at you with that and it whines.
Oh, bud. Oh.
Do what Loren would do, but this is how Galoot reacts.
All right, Neris, catch. And she's going to throw it to Neris, and then she's going to walk out.
Neris doesn't catch, and that's not because he doesn't want to, but because he physically can't. But Neris will not want to pick that thing up, and is going to look at the ring and then look at Galoot.
Galoot shakes its head, just very slightly, and it looks at you, and it's not looking at you in any aggression or any sort of fear. It just shakes its head.
Neris just looks at Galoot and squints, and then we're just going to walk out the door.
Galoot does not leave the room until everyone has not picked up this ring.
Fair.
Alton will just kick it into
It
a
also-
corner.
Yeah, it also seems to have some urgency to it as well.
Right. Janice, how are we doing the decoy thing?
We're doing the decoy thing, all right. We've come here. Okay, Fishman, you remember the way back?
of course.
All right, you lead ahead.
He says with absolute confidence.
You lead ahead. We zag. We'll zag, Alton. Make sure you keep an eye on each of us. I will go further if I need to. You make sure you're near Fishman. The rest of
Will do.
us, stay nearby, but keep an eye out for trouble.
As they're leaving, Fishman will also just like kind of make his way back to Janice and say, just a heads up, the spell I'm casting to help us obscure ourselves means that I can no longer understand what everyone is saying. Just a heads up.
Well.
We don't have that under our sleeves anymore.
Ah, I wasn't aware you could do that in the first place. Interesting.
Oh, I could do that, yes. I was listening to what everyone could say. Yes. Anyways, quickly. And he'll unlock the front door if he can and check if anything's going out there. Make sure that, I can't remember her name, but the wife is still like not coming out.
Okay. And as you very cautiously yet hastily leave the house as a group and head back out of the city, that is where we're going to leave for this episode.
All right, see you next week, everyone.
Yeah.
See if we
next
make it out
time.
alive.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
So, I'm gonna stall for a moment because Valen, that's the name. I completely blanked on Alton's brother's name for a moment. Just thinking
Leave this
Alton's
in.
brother.